Hi everyone, Mark here from Digital Groove Online, and welcome back to this week's video where I am going to show you a little trick around referencing other people's music. Now, I talk about this all the time where we speak about referencing other people's music, and I don't just mean by how does it sound and what the sound selection is. There's a lot you can learn from professional producers, and this one in particular that I'm going to talk about today is around mixing. So when we're referencing other people's music, what can we do? We can bring in the reference track and we can sort of get the loudness of our track in and around what the master of the reference track sounds like. So we can balance the mix in a way, the kick, the bass, the percussion, all the elements, as long as the track sounds quite a similar style to your own. We can sort of use that as a reference point, and we know that if we get the mix in and around a similar sort of balance, that the track is going to sound good against the reference track when it's mixed on a DJ set, for example. So like the metric AB, if anyone uses it, this is another way that we can use the reference of the frequencies, and it's a free tool that some of you probably use already, and if you don't, you should grab it. It is Span by Foxengo. Can't even say that right. Yeah, so it's a free plugin, and it's the VST2 version that you're going to want to be looking for. But I'm going to give you a quick listen to the two tracks. It's a track I was working on with a student during the week, and he wants this dark progressive house style, and we've used a reference track above here, which I'll let you hear now, and then we'll flick between the two, and I'll just show you the little trick that can help you balance that mix out. So this is the reference track. That's the reference track and the bass line, and this is the student's track. A little bit quieter in that stage because there's a little less going on. We've thickened up the bass line with some other higher elements, but it's in and around the same style, so you sort of get what we're talking about. So what we're going to do then is we're going to go into our plugin folder, and we're going to grab the Span VST2 version, and what we're going to do is drop it onto the main or the master track right at the very end. And what this does, if you have it or don't have it already, it's a spectrum analyzer. So what it does is when you play music through it, it will tell you what frequencies are being hit and what the volume of all those frequencies are. So I'll hit play here and let you see. So the reason there's nothing down here is there's no bass, and these are sort of the low mid range and up to the highs, and there's the kick in now. You can see that bass frequency filling up. It's a really good visual tool that lots of people already use, and as I say, it's free, so I'll try and link in the description where to go and get this. Metric AB has this feature already built in where you can layer two tracks over each other, and you can see the frequency range of one track, i.e. the reference track, over your track as well, and you can sort of see how to balance that out too. So how do we set this up within this Span plugin? The first thing we're going to do is we are going to sidechain this part here. So we're going to select the input that we're going to drive into the spectrum analyzer. So we're going to take that from the first track at the top, which is where the reference track is, and now this music is also being pumped into the spectrum analyzer, but it won't let you see it straight away. We have to then click on the routing button, and we can see that C and D are using the left and right of the master. So we're going to go to the next one, and we're going to pick E and F. Okay, so we've now got C and D, which is our track, E and F, which is the reference track, and then we're going to close that out. So the next thing we're going to do then is look at the underlay option here, and when we select that, we then get to pick what color we want this to be in behind the actual track that we're referencing it against. So let's click this one here. And now what we should see when we're playing these two tracks is that we'll see one in this color here, and we'll see one in the green color. The green color is your track, or the music that you've made within Ableton, and the underlay track then will be this color at the top, and we should be able to see the two of them easy enough, and we don't even have to have this channel turned on to see that. So let's hit play and have a look. So you can see they're sort of quite similar already. So this tells us that there's a little bit more of the mid-range and loudness in the mid-range. And the sub-frequencies go a little bit lower as well. And we can see that the high frequencies there are pretty much spot on. There's a little bit of a resonant peak there. So how does this help you, and how do you balance your mix out? The next thing we're going to look at then is maybe showing you how we would start off whenever we've got this set up. Then if you're going to mix your track down again, how will we start off? So what I'm going to do is close this down for now and tab back to the main screen. And if I click on this track here and hit Control and A, it will select all the tracks inside here. If I hold down Control and select this one here, we're just going to basically deselect that. And then we will open one of our tracks and pull the faders right down to the bottom, which means that there's 0 volume in there now. So let me just go to the top here. And we will Control A and click this button here. It just basically folds it back down. And if we go back into our span and open it up, we can see that it's only playing the reference track now. Okay, so this is only the reference track in the background. So without actually even listening to the reference track, we can see the frequencies that's being taken up within there. So if I just move this over to the side, and we'll just check the kick and the bass really. I'm not going to go through the whole track, but I just want to show you the power of actually bringing in these elements one by one and sort of matching them up with the levels and the frequencies that are already there. So we'll start with the kick drum here, and we'll just pop that up. And the more I bring it up, you can now see that the kick drum is coming along the bottom here. So push it right up. It's actually fizzling out. I'll just wait on it coming back around again. There it goes. Let's see. There we go. It's coming back around again. And then it's going to drop in a second. Here we go. Alright, so the kick drum's in now. I'm going to keep boosting that up roughly until it's tickling in and around where this bass is hitting. And then we'll bring up the bass line as well. You can see it's starting to thicken up and push that up a little bit as well. And then we'll just push the percussion up as well, just so there's 3 elements in here. So let's see. That's a group, so it's probably at 0. So there we go. It's sort of in and around, and what we would do then is we would work through each element and try and balance that out as well. So we're doing the claps next. Let's see. You can sort of see the claps here on his track. Turn it right up for now. And we'll just A-B the 2 of them. Actually, I've turned that down too much, so let's see. And then from there on, we'll just sort of mix it the whole way across best we can, just to get that balance on the mix. And then obviously just maybe tidy it up yourself, anything that doesn't sound right to you or is too loud or too low. But you'd have a ballpark figure, a ballpark sort of mix down that sort of sounds in and around the same balance as the as the reference track, which is what we're trying to do here. Because there's nothing worse than just doing a bit of guesswork, mixing down your track, throwing a master over it, and then mixing it against someone's track, and it's maybe not as powerful in the low end. The kick drum maybe is too clicky or punchy, harmony at the top, or the vocals are too loud, or something just sounds weak within it. So if you're referencing something in a similar style, then that means the outcome of that, whenever you balance the mix down, should be close enough for you then to basically export that out and master it in the end. So not a really long video this week, just something a little bit educational, and hopefully you've enjoyed it, and you can maybe try that out for yourselves. As I say, I'll link in the description the link to this plugin here, Span, where you can download it. And also remember that it's VST2 that has the sidechain function in it. The VST3 doesn't actually have it. If I drag it down here, I don't believe it has it on it. If anyone knows that it is on there somewhere, you can let me know. But the VST2 version will let you take the reference track and input that into the Spectrum Analyzer at the same time. So listen, thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed that, and we'll see you again next week.